Welcome to the Navigating Cancer Together podcast. My name is Talea Dindy. I am a 10-year cancer thriver, cancer doula, and owner of On the Other Side. I use my experience to help others get on the other side of cancer. This podcast is about sharing stories, resources, and information about all things related to cancer and wellness. I interview guests from all walks of life who are living with cancer, caregivers, and those who made it on the other side. Also, I talk with organizations, healthcare professionals, and experts in the health and wellness spaces who offer complementary and integrative care. Join me. We are in this together. Hello, and welcome to Navigating Cancer Together. I am your host, Talea Dindy. Today, our very special guest is Viki Zarkin. Viki Zarkin was diagnosed with cancer in 2011. She has been living with stage 4 metastatic cancer for over 10 years, and she is the only person in the world alive with this aggressive illness. She was diagnosed in her 40s when her doctor first told her to go home and get her affairs in order. And at that time, she had 2 small children at home. Viki spent the next several years fighting for her life, advocating for herself, navigating through the healthcare world, and following her gut. Today, Viki is a beacon of hope for others. She's a motivational speaker and a coach on a national level and a successful author. Viki, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Absolutely, my pleasure. I am so happy to have you. Wow, your story. I can't wait for the audience to hear all about it. So please share with us how you were told that you had stage 4 metastatic cancer.
It's interesting how I was told because, I was just flat out got a phone call and they knew right away that I had breast cancer. I was in the throes of a horrible flu at the time. So in between throwing up, I get this call from my internist that, because I had just had a mammogram. And he said, Viki, you definitely have breast cancer. We just need to get a biopsy and figure out what kind and how bad it is. But he flat out said on the phone, you definitely got cancer. And to me, I wasn't overly worried. Granted, I was vomiting a lot at the time.
Yes.
I wasn't overly worried because I was under the belief that breast cancer is curable. Let's face it. It has been around for a while and they have had, great strides. Unfortunately, I think things are going backwards in the breast cancer world. And that's, what I'm here to hopefully help change for the future because breast cancer needs to be eradicated. Come on. Women should not be still dying. So I was just kind of flat out told, and I went to Johns Hopkins from there and that's about a 2-hour drive from my house just to get an idea. Mm-hmm. And I went with we called ourselves the 3 Musketeers, my mom, my husband, and I, because we were going back and forth and back and forth. We had testing for a good 6 weeks.
What?
Back and forth 2 hours every day. And bear in mind, I had small kids at home. So, they didn't know what I was doing or where I was going because I wasn't going to say anything until I knew for sure. Mm-hmm. So it was quite a grueling time period. The not knowing was rough.
I bet.
Because I'm somebody that likes conclusions and, answers and, I'm going to get right down and fix it, and the not knowing in the weeks, that was tough. But finally they said to me, okay, we've got the best oncologist at Johns Hopkins. Mm-hmm. He has reviewed all your tests and he's ready to tell you what your next step is. So we're funneled into this operatory, like lambs to the slaughter. no idea what's coming. And, he's just sort of going on and on and on. And to be honest with you, I had no idea what he was saying. I didn't know a lot about cancer at the time. I didn't have any loved ones that had passed from cancer like most people. And he was just not making any kind of eye contact with me. And he was just going on and on and on and saying things that I just had no idea. And then all of a sudden, I clicked in, because that's when I heard him say, "I'm so sorry. I have been in touch with all my colleagues here at Johns Hopkins, and we are all in agreement that there's nothing we can do for you.
Wow.
And you need to go home and get your affairs in order." And I was like, what? I mean, I was gobsmacked. I mean, here I am waiting all these weeks to get down to fixing the problem, so to speak, and now he's telling me go home and die. I don't think so.
Right.
That wasn't going to work for me. And so the Viki that walked into the room that day died instantly the minute I heard those words. And I know it sounds crazy, but that's exactly what happened. And the me that you're speaking to today took over. Yes. And I lunged across that room and grabbed that doctor by the neck.
Okay.
I did. I mean, like, I flew, like, I took air. And I grabbed him and I pulled him in by the shirt collar really, really close, because I needed him to see me for the human being that I was, not the Autobot that he was referring to. And I said, "I don't care what you cut off me. I don't care what you stick in me. I don't care, quite honestly, what you do to me. I am going to be the one. I am going to make it. I'm a mom." I was like, furious. And then I realized, my hands were around somebody's neck, and I was like, oh crap, he's going to call the security. I backed up and I was real quiet. And he was quiet. And, you could just gently hear, like, my mom and my husband's, silently crying. But otherwise, the room was really quiet. And you'd think it went on for a while, but it was just a short period of time. And he looked up and he looked at me for the first time. And we locked eyes. And he said, And I was like, oh, geez. And he says, "I'll tell you what, we'll start with chemotherapy, but I'm not promising anything. I'm not saying what we're going to do after that. We'll see how you do. Is that okay with you?" And I said, yes, that's okay with me. Now, the thing is, what I knew, being the fighter that I am, that now I bought myself some time, because I knew I was in a pickle, because I was starting to get a better understanding of exactly what was going on. And I was riddled in cancer. I mean, he had good reason to say what he said. It was in my neck, in my esophagus, through my mammary glands, all through my chest, the left ventricle of my heart, the left lung, like 30 lymph nodes wrapped around my left breast, wrapped around my nipple. I mean, it was everywhere. I mean, I was metastatic stage 4 cancer. I mean, it had definitely left the breast. And so, I mean, I knew I was in a pickle, but I knew I wasn't dying. I knew I wasn't dying. There was no way I was going to let anybody raise my kids besides me. That was just the bottom line. I was not going to allow somebody else to raise my children. I was it. And so fight mode switched on. And, I have to be honest, it was about a 2-year period. I was really like a shell of the person that I am, because I was waging a war like a metaphysical war, a battle.
Right.
And I was what I called it, like in a tunnel vision. I didn't
Mhm.
see right. I didn't see left. I just saw fight.
Mhm.
And I left a little part of me to care for my children, the baths, the
Yes.
story time, all of that, the me.
Right.
But everybody else got a very robotic me. I
Mhm.
would answer yes and no to questions. It was like I was there, but I wasn't really there.
Yes.
And nobody really understood exactly why. It just seemed to them, I think, that I was just cold, that I was aloof, because everybody was being so incredibly kind to me and I didn't have anything left. I was
Yes.
fighting so hard. I couldn't really acknowledge all the kindnesses that I was receiving, which broke my heart inside. But I was on a mission.
Mhm.
I was on a mission to save my life, and this was the only way that I could do it. So when I slowly came out of that trance about 2 years after, I had a big party for everybody. thanking
Thanking
them
them.
for,
Yeah.
for all that they did for me and so forth, because
I wanted to say what an amazing story, first of all. And I admire your courage and your strength and, quite frankly, your will to live.
yeah,
And at that moment, you decided that I'm not accepting this.
yeah,
I'm not going to
definitely.
die.
I was
And
not.
so, yeah. And so, can you tell us a little bit more about you're the only person in the world alive?
Isn't that crazy?
That is.
I had no idea, of course, until it started coming out, because I lived.
Mm,
Nobody has survived this aggressive form of cancer before. They had no idea what to do with me.
mm,
So that's why I am a full out advocate for myself still
mhm.
today. And it's very, very tiring being me.
Yeah.
Um, you know, um, I'm in constant pain. I'm on maintenance chemotherapy and have been so on. I've been given chemotherapy every single month for the last over 11 years.
Oh, wow.
So that does something to a body.
Absolutely.
And so, I'm in pain all the time. And I'm constantly still today fighting with the insurance companies, fighting
Mhm.
with doctors, to get one new medication, um, to figure out the new problem that I might have had, or what have you, because everything is always breaking down. Something's always
Yeah.
coming up. And so I liken it to, I go to sleep at night, I wake up, and I start running up a hill.
Mhm. Every
And
day.
every day, and night falls, I go to sleep, I get up, and I start running up that hill.
Mhm.
Every single day, it never lets up. And you might ask me, why? Yeah, why, or why do how do you cope with all that? And if you get into the mindset of somebody that had the will
Mhm.
to, that nobody was good, she wasn't dying because she was going to raise her kids,
Mhm.
I am not going to waste that time complaining or worrying. The pain's not going anywhere,
That's right.
but time and daylight sure is.
Absolutely.
And so I'm going to love life and live every moment and have a good time and enjoy my life. And I'm also going to make use of my life. And
Mhm.
I made a promise to God.
Okay.
And that promise was, if I could raise my children, I would help women.
Wonderful.
And my youngest, as you just saw, just started college this year. And
Okay.
I became an empty nester. And it was the perfect time to keep that promise to God, because now I'm moving into my next phase as my children are flying on their own with the lessons that, you know, I've taught them and given them that that push to do what they need to do now for themselves. So it's my turn to help women, and other women have the right to tuck their children into bed at night, as I had that right.
Yes.
And I am determined to make that happen. And I have set up a lot of things in projects and so forth to harness my passion in order to, everything that I do is to try to make my voice louder. I mean, I know I'm a kind of loud, crazy person, you know, but I'm one person.
Right. You're
And
trying to broaden your reach.
I am because I want to hit thousands, millions of women. I want to help as many as I can. And so I wrote my book, I Am the One, but I have my book out, I Am the One, which is a real, you know.
Why did you write the book?
Well, I, believe it or not, when I started, it was COVID. And I wanted to, it was time. It was my 10th year anniversary.
Okay.
And I was like, I need to get this out. It's time. I'm ready. And the crazy thing was, I didn't know when I started to write the book, I had no recollection of what I had done to save myself. And so writing the book was not only healing, but it was eye-opening. And it taught me all the things that I had done that I cannot believe. Like, I made up an exercise program for myself, literally from thin air, in order to, you know, when I was told that I couldn't move. And then from being such an active person, the time of non-movement was getting to me. So I created an exercise program that was, you know, doctor approved, you know, but not boring. Like, all I was able to do was like walk really, really slow. And it was like, all right, I've had it with this. And I put myself on the treadmill, and I love Motown and I love like 70s music and stuff. And I was listening to it really loud in my ears. And then all of a sudden, when, you know, I just started to like move and dance, and it was just born out of that. And, you know, what I teach people in my video, because I sell it on my website, iamtheone.com. It's not just an exercise video. First of all, I teach everybody to take it and create their own. So I give it, so it's really a template, because everybody's needs are different. Everybody's illness is a little different. And the bottom line, the whole idea behind it is not how you dance or how you move. It's just to do that, to move. But I started this, you have to understand, in the middle of an active full gym. And I'm on this treadmill, and my hands are like going in the air, and I'm like clapping, and you know, and like, you know, woohoo, you know, and you know, of course, everyone's staring. And the thing is, that's the whole point of the exercise program. If you truly let go, and you don't mind your surroundings, and you're just in your head, it's like your church. It's spiritual. It was, I would cry in the middle of, you know, the gym, and you just have to not care.
That's right.
To get to that point, it almost doesn't matter what else you're doing. That's the whole point of my program. And, you know, I tell everybody, pick your own music, find your own dance.
Yeah.
Hold on, don't hold on, go as fast as you want, or whatever. Everybody can do it in a different way, and we all move different, and our outlets are different. But ultimately, you must let go in
Yes.
order for it to really work. So I learned, that's one of the things I learned. I had no idea that I even was doing that. And then I taught myself how to meditate. Never even so much did yoga before. But all these doctors, and I talk about it in my book, were giving me narcotics, like bottles, hundreds and hundreds of them. And I would say, why do I need these?
That's right. Yes.
Why do I need these? And you know what they said to me? You're terminal. What's it matter?
Oh, no.
Quote, unquote. And I said, well, it matters to my children.
Wow.
Because they need their mother to help them with their homework when they come home from school.
Yeah.
And they need their baths, and they need their books read. And I don't need to be on all this medication just because I'm terminal. I'm still a mom. And so from that day on, I never took a pain pill. I had 22 surgeries, never took one. And I taught myself how to breathe through my pain.
Oh, yes.
And I mean, it got really intense at some points, because the pain, some of the procedures and things, the pain would be quite intense. And I would just breathe all that more and concentrate through it to an extent where one time I was over my body and saw what was happening. Yes. Only one time was I able to accomplish that. One time only, but I did. So I was, it was incredible the things that I did in order to get myself from step 1 to step 2 to step 3. And then, I had to fight for a whole different type of radiation treatment that I researched.
Really? What's that?
That I needed. And that was one of the other keys that really saved my life, because the doctors all wanted me to do photon radiation, which is normal radiation that everyone gets, that everyone does. And at the time that I was ill, I'm still ill, but the time that I was going through the hard illness, that's really mainly, that's all they did. And just to give you an idea, photon radiation is like there for cleanup. So if you do really well at chemo, and you get your radical mastectomy and so forth, then you come in with the cleanup crew. And that's what photon radiation is. That's what I call it, the cleanup crew. And it is like a big blast. It comes in the front and it goes straight out your back, and it has scatter. It damages everything in its wake. Yes. It's like, when you hear about all those, accidents like in Russia that took out the city. That's what this radiation will do. I mean, it just takes out everything in its wake. And the problem with that is my heart and lungs were involved.
Absolutely.
So I was going to die of congestive heart failure long before I was going to die of the cancer at that point. So I needed to figure out a way. And so I talked a doctor in Indiana at a university to do proton radiation for me. Now, the difference with proton is it's a pinpoint radiation. It can stop on a dime, and it can go around your organs.
Oh, wow.
And just irradiate the areas that you want it to. Now, the problem was proton radiation was mainly used for brain cancer, prostate cancer, or anything that's very, very small.
Okay.
My area was very, very large.
Yes.
So it was never done before. So I but I didn't understand why it couldn't be, because
Mhm.
proton radiation has been around for decades.
Okay.
So we've had the, we've had the technology. It's just the man hours and the expense to do such a large area
Mhm.
is not in the insurance companies and medical professionals' best
Best
interest.
interest. Yes. It's in your best interest,
It was
but
in
not
mine.
theirs.
Yes. So I had to get quite creative. And I talk
Mhm.
about in my book exactly how creative I got in order to get this treatment.
Mhm.
But the bottom line is, why is it that 10, 11 years later, I'm the only one alive today?
Yes.
Because that treatment is still not done.
Hmm.
They are not, even with the learned response from me, it is not being done on a regular. That is a problem. So I have developed to keep my promise to God.
Yes.
I developed a movement, and I like my play on words. I call it Lunge for Healthcare.
Oh,
Cool name,
yes.
right?
Yeah.
And I plan on taking this movement global. It's on my website now, iamtheone.com, but we are,
Mhm.
come the beginning of the year, Lunge for Healthcare will have its own website. It
Okay.
has a board of directors now,
Okay.
and we are serious. And what we're doing is I'm trying to keep it simple in
Yes.
order to change the face of women in healthcare.
Mhm.
So I'm starting off with 2 asks. Very, very easy. We are asking women to follow their instincts when it comes to their health care.
Okay.
Tap into their gut.
That's right.
Okay, simple as that. And we're asking doctors, listen first, diagnose second.
Mhm.
Those 2 things alone, just starting small, can save millions of women's lives.
Yes, it
telling you,
can.
just with
Yes.
those easy steps. And then ultimately what I'd like to ask the insurance companies, if we save all of these dollars in insurance dollars monies, I want all of our women's health services back in to our insurance plans that we had.
Yes,
They took all of them away. I mean,
they
women
did.
used to be able to get mammograms at age 40. Now they moved it to 50. Well,
Yeah.
that's not good enough. And, women have to, stop being on the back burners of healthcare.
Mhm.
We are not second-class citizens. The proton radiation,
Yes.
it's used mostly for prostate cancer because it's
Mhm.
so lucrative. Well,
Ah.
it's time that man parts don't take the number one step. The women part take front and center.
Mhm.
And that's kind of what Lunge for Healthcare is about. And so
Okay.
I ask people, I mean, I need help to take that global.
So how
So,
can the audience help you with that?
well, when the website is going to be done in the beginning of the year, you can
Mhm.
easily log on, and there's going to be a donate button. You can help financially, which is always nice. I see Lunge for Healthcare on the sides of buses. I see it in social media. I see it as hashtags. So, anybody with that kind of, background or skill set, those kind of people certainly can be helpful to me. Anybody that just wants to get involved, that believes the things that we're talking about today,
Yes.
will have a place in Lunge for Healthcare, because we cannot do this alone. Women, if we band together, we are a powerhouse. So
Absolutely.
I'm asking women to band together to help Lunge for Healthcare.
Mhm.
And I am doing one other thing. associated with the book, I am teaching a course. It's going to start, when is this going to start? January 28th. Is that when I'm starting it? Let me just make sure for you guys. Yes, it's called There's More to Cancer Than the Diagnosis. Because if you heard anything from me today, you've learned that there's a lot more to cancer than just that diagnosis, that initial diagnosis. And what I'm going to teach, we're starting, you can go onto my website and sign up for the class right now, iamtheone.com. And it's my way of giving back.
Okay.
And the first class is going to be a beta class. So it's half price, $4.95. Not a lot of money, very affordable. And the value that you get will be infinite. Because what happened to me is when I went into treatment, I had the stressors of what's going to happen to me. What doctors do I use? How am I going to get through this? You know, you're having to funnel through all the white noise of your family, your friends, do this, do that, you know, so on and so forth. So this course teaches you how to pare down the white noise, how to manage the insurance and the healthcare system, how to find your own doctors, how to break the news to your loved ones or your small children. All things that you need to know, but things that were huge stress factors. Like I was looking at bankrupting my family.
Oh, yes.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, and then they want me to go into treatment and save my life. And I'm thinking, oh my God, you know, I've got all these other stressors going on, which is why the course is called There's More to Cancer Than the Diagnosis.
That's
so
right.
If I can teach everybody my tricks and eliminate all of that for everyone else, I can't change it for me. But if I can eliminate it for others down the road,
right,
they can go into treatment with just positive attitudes and let's kick this cancer where it counts.
Right.
And not have to worry about the other stressors. How can you possibly, you know, go in and with all the strength and all the positivity that you truly need to beat something like this when you have all that weighing on your shoulders? This is why a lot of people are dying. The stress alone is killing people.
Absolutely. Yes.
So this is my gift.
Okay.
It's all I know. It's what I know. And you know, there's no course out there like that. Nobody that's been through what we've been through is teaching a class like this. So
wonderful.
I'm hoping people will sign up and then pay it forward.
Yes, I will put all that information in the listen notes for this episode. And thank you for sharing your story and all of the very helpful information. And I usually ask my guests 2 questions before we end. You've already answered one of them. The what's next for you. You've talked about that. The other one is, what is something that you've learned in life that you would like to share with the audience?
I think I've learned to not sweat the small things.
Okay.
I mean, when the new Viki took over, she was all business. And by understanding what was going on, I could really appreciate my surroundings. And you know, life is too short, people. I hope that you can learn from me to bypass some of the things that just don't matter.
Yes.
And let's get to the heart of the situation. And teach your children to not have fear, to laugh with abandon, to enjoy their childhood. And I think that, you know, I've tried to teach that to my kids so that they learn to be silly and not worry what people thought so much all the time. That's so important.
It is. It is. Yes.
So that's what I would recommend.
Great advice. I love all of that. And I love how you talked about you not really caring what other people thought when you were trying to figure out how to start healing yourself. And I just think that that's so important, because even as adults, we still kind of get stuck in not doing the things we want to do or trying different things because we're worried about what people think. So thank you for sharing that.
100%. It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And before we wrap up, if people want to learn more about you, they can go to your website, I am the one.
I'm the one.com.
Okay, I am the one.com. Any other social media sites you want to share?
Well, I'm on all of them. I'm on LinkedIn,
Okay.
I'm on Instagram, I'm on Twitter, Facebook, all via, I am one in some form or another.
Okay,
So
perfect.
you can reach out to me. But the easiest way is usually my website. I mean, everything that I'm doing is listed on there.
Okay.
So you can even buy my book on the website. So
All right.
anything.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you. I'm sure people will be reaching out to see how they can help you further your cause and your mission.
I really hope so. Everybody out there, I really could use the help. I'm just, a one little woman. So
yes, it's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you for having me, because,
Absolutely.
anybody, even if one person helps me today, I would be grateful to you. Thank you.
Absolutely. Again, Viki, thank you for your time. It was a pleasure having you as a guest today. And before we end, I'd like to give a shout out to the listeners. Thank you for joining us. That is it for this Wednesday. And until next time, let's keep navigating cancer together. Take care.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Navigating Cancer Together. I hope you enjoyed it. Please be sure to subscribe. And if you appreciate the show, drop a positive rating and review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. For notes from the show, visit ontheotherside.life and check out the podcast section. After you check out the show notes, head over to my gift shop and show yourself or someone special in your life some love with gifts of encouragement, hope, and positive affirmations. I would love it if you joined us for the next episode. Talk to you soon.